What's up? Definitely got a lot to get off my chest today, clearly. Let's get into it. Let's just get into it. So, once I graduated high school, I feel like that's when life really kind of started kicking in differently. I was already doing like different types of emotional work and with my mind and everything, but this was like a whole new chapter, and this was only last year. Things like my life and work and career started to come into play, and initially I knew like I don't like working jobs. I don't like working. Even though I was planning to go to college and it was just like, end up changing my mind. I was like, I don't want to work no job. I know I don't want to work no job. I know I don't like working jobs. So even in knowing that, throughout that summer, I still did a lot of looking for jobs, applying for jobs. Like, it would be a spree. It's like one moment I'm like, yeah, I'm cool off a job. Like, I don't need that shit. Next week, I'm scrambling, because it was like I was trying to really suppress that feeling. But even though I knew it was something I didn't want, I still felt it. And a couple months later, I ended up getting me a job at Wendy's, which is crazy. That ended up happening from like a situation where I was just like, I'm ready to get the fuck about. I gotta do something. It was like one of I gotta do something type of moments. And in that moment, the best thing I knew, the only option that I knew or felt was Wendy's. And that's what I went and did. And then I worked there for like a couple weeks. End up going to Ross. I did like working at Ross. But at that time, I already knew it was like, it was working at Ross was like, it was almost like a sense of security, like just a tad bit of it, enough to where I'm not being like drained and like really don't like my job, but still not really progressing to where I knew I wanted to be. It was like a settlement. It was a good settlement. Sometimes you do have to settle. After being programmed for so fucking long, hell yeah. You have to just go with the flow. I had to go with the flow. It's like, shit. Still know I don't want to work no job, but at the same time, this would kind of give me that security that I've been like looking for and fucking going after. Because mind you, that whole summer, while those sprees where I was applying to jobs, like I won't get in them. I won't get no jobs. Just the way it needed to be, though. But it was until later that year and I get a job. So I worked there for a couple months. I worked there until like earlier this year. I stopped like April. But during that time, I did a lot of healing. I did a lot of gathering of myself and things of that nature. And I had always knew, I was just like, bro, it's gonna come a day where it's just time to quit. And I don't know when it's gonna be, but it's gonna come. After quitting, it was to a point where it was like, okay, I know I don't want to work a job, right? But then something new came along. It was like, I also know that I don't want to do things for money. With whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm pouring myself into, I don't want to do it for money. I'm just like, fuck. Right? So that was another thing I knew. But even in knowing that, I still put myself in situations where it was like, this thing, it could give me a lot of money. This thing could get me a lot of money. And like, it's not so bad. I could get myself to like it wouldn't be so bad. I can enjoy it. It can bring me this skill and it can do this thing to help me progress. And even in it having that benefit, it lacked passion. There was no passion. There was nothing to really pour into, because with me, like, I need passion. I need fun. I need that oomph. Which is what this gives me, hence why I'm here. But I mean, and then it's like, why not make a job out of something you already do? I already sit around and talk to myself and make videos. And every single thing I was trying to do with it, with the intentions of receiving money out of it, and with that intention purely, even if I could find other things around it, that was the pure intention. That was the rawest form of intention that I was going in with, whether if I was really recognizing that or not. And after that, I got burnt out or whatever, and ended up just sitting down, because baby, that whole chase, it was doing a toll on my nervous system. My nervous system was on hustle. It was, baby, I was out of flow. It won't me. I was like, hell no, I can't live like this. So I took about almost a month off, and during that month, I remember definitely just doing a lot of work to reassure myself of, or putting myself more into flow. So even though I wasn't doing that career wise, in a mental way it was like, okay, you go back out there, make sure, what I'm saying, when you go back out job hunting, make sure you doing it with the right intentions, things of that nature. But I was also putting myself back into that flow, and in me putting myself back into my natural flow, it naturally brings those things about, because as long as I'm in my natural flow, everything I'm attracting, everything I'm pouring myself into is naturally going to align with that, whether if that's relationships, whether if that's career, whether that's anything. And during that time, I ended up coming across a family member that I don't really talk to too often. And they asked me how I was and how I'd been and everything. And I was doing well, of course. And of course that question comes like, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Are you going to college? Are you working a job? And I wasn't doing either, and I made that clear. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing either of those things. And this is also a time where I was learning how to actually stand in myself, to really just stand true to myself. So even though that was something it was nerve-wracking for me to say that, I was like, fuck, because I know there's this expectation that I need to be doing this thing that I don't want to fucking do. But I know it's also like, okay, well, you got to go and do what you want to do, but I don't even know what the fuck I want to do, because I've been programmed to do the shit that I don't want to do for so motherfucking long. So I made that clear, and she ended up just talking about, like, you have to do this. I hate those words, like, you have to, you need to. And then she started talking about, like, making a living, and it's like, huh? You gotta work a job, you gotta do the things you don't want to do, you gotta make a living. And that struck something in me, because when you are alone a lot and you're more in tune with your own world rather than the world outside of you, things like that is just like, it threw me off. I'm like, is she being dead ass? You talking about doing things for a living. Most of the things I'm doing, even though it carries small intentions, my biggest goal is to help the world in some type of way. I want to give. I want to show up. I don't want to just make a living. That doesn't sound so fun. But it just made me realize how living or coming from poverty and lack mindset, a lack reality, will make you settle. It will make you, well, shit, I don't got these things, and I already see it's hard for my parents to get these things, so I'm gonna make sure I make a living. Yeah, that's the big goal. And that's all you're able to see, just because of what's being presented in front of you. But in reality, we need to be thinking bigger than that. Yeah, I want to be fed. I want a nice house, a nice roof. I see how it might have been troubling for my parent or other people to make that happen. I see that, but that's not going to stop me from going beyond. I got to go beyond that. First of all, I got to think about my kids. I don't want my kids having to even do shit that I'm having to do. I don't want them having to do anything that my parents was doing. I don't want them in that lifestyle. So that's not going to work, And hey, I'm still figuring it out. I'll admit that. But man, to be so young and already have so much collected, so much curated within myself, I feel good as fuck. And that's why I'm able to just share that. Like, hey, I'm still figuring this shit out. Bitch, I only been here for 9 months. Before this year, I was in my mental reality. That's all I lived in. I wasn't in touch with my physical reality. I wasn't in touch with my body, how I felt, none of that. I'm coming into that. It's a progress. It's a process. And I'm loving it every step of the way. And I will never be afraid to admit things that I am not sure of, things that I have not figured out. Because just as many things I don't have figured out, it's so much that I know. And shit, they balance each other out. And even if you don't know a lot of the time, shit, you can find something, you know something. But seeing that really was boggling. It's so crazy because that situation taught me a whole different lesson, just about being misunderstood. A lot of times people is not going to understand me, and I really had to accept that. Because in that situation, I was trying to, let it be known that, hey, I'm not going to do something outside of my being in order to receive, in order to be fulfilled. Why? Because I've already tried those things. I've already tried it everybody else's way. Even if I ain't go the full inch, I tried it. And it's not it. It's not it. I don't like it. And I was also trying to let it be known that, I want to do something fun. I was saying that. I was like, yeah, I want to do something fun. I want my career or whatever it is I'm doing to be fun, uplifting, and joyful, things like that. And, she ended up saying, oh, fun stops when you're 5 years old. What's crazy is I didn't get my childhood, And that's why now you see me so smiley, so uppity, because I'm living out my childhood. Baby, all that had to get washed out of the way and shit, back then, hell no, I'm not letting up. I'm gonna make sure I have fun. It's the only way. And it's like, it's so funny how things happen so perfectly. Even though back then, as a child, I wasn't able to live in that child essence and be able to do those things, which it hurt, and it hurt. I had to move through that and get through that. And still, I'm able to have this energy, It's not a loss. It's just something that couldn't be given at that time. I still have that childlike essence, that energy that I can still utilize now. And I feel like that really happened exactly the way it needed to. Because now I'm able to go out into the world and approach it with such a fresh, childlike energy. And that's honestly the way I would want it to be. That's the way I love it. I wouldn't ask for it to be any other way. So for that, I'm so, so thankful. But I was just like, yeah, I want to have fun. That sounds kind of weird. So many parts of myself did have to get locked up, It was almost like a preservation. It was like, we're going to keep you locked up so that the world can't even touch this shit. Because honestly, when you were a child, you're more prone, You're literally being programmed. You're more prone to external influences and things of that nature. But me, spirit, because I've always been in tune with spirit, we made that decision. We did that thing. We locked up that child essence and locked away those parts of myself. And oh my gosh, I just got a message. I get messages from my fucking spirit team. Oh my god, they say, hey, you did it. Oh fuck. My goodness. Knowing that I wasn't able to unleash that part of myself for so long, I'm at a place, that's what encourages me to let it go, to let it out, to set myself free. That was honestly my first test of are you really gonna stand true to what you know, what you live in, what you live by? And that's exactly what I did. Even though it was scary, even though at one point I wasn't yelling or anything, but I did start to feel like I was sounding a little bit rude, and I was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, hold on, I'm not sorry. And I took it right back. No, seriously. But the thing about it is when you are implementing something new, especially when it comes to your words, things that you're doing, even if you still end up doing that thing, and you notice like, oh shit, like I said I was gonna stop doing that. It's not about you just taking note and saying, okay, yeah, next time I gotta make sure I don't do that thing. No, correct it right now, as you just said it. Actually, yeah, that's not what I meant to say. I take that back. What I meant to say is, I like to do things my way. I'm very stubborn. You're not budging me. That's what I meant to say. You have a nice one, boo. No, that is kind of what I said. I said it something like that. Not exactly like that, but I said I was stubborn because I am stubborn. Like, you keep trying to tell me a certain way to live. I'm not budging. I'm not gonna budge. That was the truth, and that's why I had felt like it was rude. But my stubbornness is everything about myself. Like, I wouldn't be where I am today if I wasn't stubborn. If I decided to just go along with every fucking thing that was given to me, who know where I would have been. But no, I'm stubborn. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna question you. I'm not gonna just easily take in anything that's being given to me. And that's forever helped me. And that was that's something that I have to utilize. That's that Aries in me, seriously. But don't let nobody tell you how to live your life. It's your life. Live it the way you want to. It's your design. It's my motherfucking story. You know, it's like a play. I'm the director, the star, the setup. I do everything. Nobody else. Just me. It's a one-man band, including spirit too, but spirit works through me, so you know. But one-man band. People could come on for show and shit, you know what I'm saying, if I allow that access. But yeah, there's no one way how to live. There's no one way to do things. 2, 3, 4. It is limitless. It's uncountable. It's so many things you could do. So many ways you can live. So many ways you can speak. So many ways you can walk. Like, who the fuck says we have to just like walk regular? What if I want to like walk like I was on a balance beam, bitch? You know what I'm saying? It be the little stuff. Yeah, I be looking at that. But on a larger scale, do what you want. Do what you want. I'm a strong advocate of doing what the fuck you want. Like, seriously. Really, this shit is your life. Like, the world is too big to just be doing this one thing that you know don't work, that is not leaving you happy. It's too big. If you ever really want to see how, like, just step outside and look at the goddamn sky. It's so goddamn big. Now, maybe that's like a, like, I'm telling you, I'm fresh to this earth. So it's like, sometimes when I see things, I'm able to really see it with a fresh pair of eyes. It's like, it's big as fuck. Look at this big ass fucking earth. Big as fuck. But yeah, I'm fresh out the plastic. Fuck with me. And until next time.